I have nothing to do with this.
We thank you all for joining us today in the protest of the several bills aimed to prevent students and teachers from talking about our histories and experiences. As students and youth, it is important for us to take a stand against the very prejudices that paralyze our education. I want to start off by reading an excerpt from a poem that emphasizes the importance of learning of other histories and cultures. Here is Hephaestus by Amanda Gorman. Pay attention. Having fallen in this era of error, we're re-raised among wreckage. What happened to us, we ask, a true inquiry, as if we're simply the affected, this recipient to which such rambling trauma was sent. As if we did not give the very cry to which our bows were bent. We labor equally when we fall as when we rise. Always remember that what happened to us, happened through us. We wonder how close can we come to light before we shut our eyes? How long can we stand in the dark before we become more than our shadows? Pay attention. Concern is a debt we always owed each other. Ta-Nehisi Coates once said, until we reckon with our compounding moral debts, America will never be whole. The many bills that are being drafted and discussed right inside this very building do the exact opposite of reckoning these debts. Instead, they veil them. These bills prohibit us from discussing the true experiences of the melting pot of minorities that have been suppressed for centuries. The very people inside this building who are supposed to represent us are in actuality censoring us. I'm the co-founder and co-representative of a club at my school called STAR, where students talking about race, which actively creates a space for conversations about race as it relates to our education, social media and pop culture, politics, and more. These conversations, unlike the anxieties of those who encourage this bill, have been enlightening for all students of all races. In no way does this club make others feel guilty or hateful. It allows students to come together in a shared space to make change for our community, to provide a voice for those who have been silenced due to ignorance. Those who support this bill fear uncomfortability. The state of Georgia is blessed to have such wonderful teachers who are extraordinarily educated, extraordinarily passionate about shaping our generation. But the legislators who created this bill are trying to prevent us from achieving and teachers from teaching an honest education. In turn, they risk the salaries of teachers because of their fears, as they plan to slash funding and take away our access to resources. Their idea of a quality education means putting schools in constant fear of losing their funding, including my own. The supporters of these bills are fatally unaware of the consequences. But now it is our time and duty to teach the representatives of Georgia, the representatives of this nation, that their antiquated ways of silencing us are no longer working. We must show them that we, the students and teachers, do not fear uncomfortability. We embrace it. We need discomfort in order to learn to heal. They have no choice but to hear us, the students of the state, now. So we call on you, Matt Dubnick and Chris Irwin. We call on you, Chuck Payne and Jason Anavitarde. We call on Will Wade, Ed Seltzer, Bonnie Rich, Randy Nix, Dominic Lauricia, Mike Chiokas, Wes Cantrell, Todd Jones, Jan Jones, Rick Jaspers, Dwayne Hill, Terry England, Tommy Benton, John Alberts, Greg Dolezal, and Sheila McNeil. Stop censoring our ability to think critically. Take your hands off of our education. Thank you for being here.
1084 and 377 scares the next generation of thinkers from Georgia. I love this state, and I want to live here just as freely as I would anywhere else. I want to get my education from Georgia's universities because this is where I'm from. This is where my family received their education, and this is where I see my future. I live in a state that has a diversity of thought and of people, where my neighbor looks and thinks differently from me, and that's okay, that's good. I don't want to leave this state and the people I love, dump 60 grand on an out-of-state education when I can get that education right here in Georgia. I want myself and every student of Georgia to feel safe whenever they walk into a school or university of any kind. Places of education should be safe spaces for thought and speech. And I want to encourage everyone gathered here today to walk away with one action they can take. Whether that means contacting your representative, spreading awareness among your peers, or continuing to march. Remember that there is something you can do. This is your education, and it is your right to have it, and it is your right to fight for it. Thank you for your time.
I will vote against all these bills. They're bad bills. And there are over 70 of us in the House who are committed to vote against these bad bills.
1, 2, 3, 4, the students are knocking at your door. 5, 6, 7, 8, liberation will not wait. 5, 6, 7, 8, liberation will not wait.
Hands up for education! Hands up! Hands up for education! Hands up now! 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 Let us learn! 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 Students in Metro Atlanta, and we feel that, well, they feel that they deserve to keep being educated the way they've been educated.
So do you know what critical race theory teaches?
Yes.
Tell me.
Critical race theory is a nickname for how history is currently being taught, and I'm aware that it teaches the realistic interpretation of it.
It teaches people to be victims and act as victims rather than taking charge of life.
These racist bills have got to go. These racist bills have got to go.